Anyone here? Hello?
What are you waiting for?
I really need to deposit this check before work today.
Oh, you can use the ITM for that.
Oh man, I gotta make a payment before the credit union closes.
You can use the ITM for that.
I don't know about this thing. I mean, I need some social interaction.
You can use the ITM for that.
Peninsula Federal Credit Union offers a wide variety of technology to keep your banking experience fast and efficient. Try our ITMs today.
Watch WZMQ 19 News wherever you are, whenever you're ready. Subscribe to the 19 News channel on YouTube. Amy Doyle reports at 6 and 11 on WZMQ 19 News. This is Winter Ready, a severe weather special from the 19 News First Warning Weather Team.
Thanks for tuning into our Winter Ready special. I'm weather forecaster Ariane Stasek. In the next half hour, we'll cover a variety of topics that impact UP winters and Upers. Meteorologist Carl Bonak will share his expertise about historical winters. I'll chat with the National Weather Service meteorologist Joe Phillips about El Nino trends and upcoming winter forecasting. We'll also take a look at specific elements like lake effect snow, wind chill, and snow squalls. We'll start with a recap, though, on how it all measured up this past winter season. Here in the UP, we're lucky to experience all 4 seasons, one amazing summer, and 3 winters. Pre-winter or fall is over, so now it's the S-word time of the year: ski, sled, and shovel. To get ourselves mentally prepared, let's drift back to the 2022-2023 winter. Technically, winter in the meteorology world is December through February, but Mother Nature plays by her own rules here in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Any month is fair game. Simply put, snowfall totals and temps were above normal. According to the National Weather Service station in Marquette, the first flakes floated down on October 6th, 2022. Shortly after, our first measurable snowfall dropped a smidge above 18 inches over the course of 2 days. On the outskirts of Marquette, the National Weather Service station had 9.1 inches on the 17th and an even 9 on the 18th. The final gasp of winter happened on May 2nd, 2023, with a historic late-season snowstorm. This crowned Herman, Michigan, king of the Snow Mountain. Nestled in the middle of Baraga County, our big winner had a grand total of 308 inches for the season. Calumet Tamarack was a close second with 292. Third place would be the Keweenaw County Road Commission's total of 276 inches. Honorable mention was banked in Negaunee Township at the National Weather Service station with 265 inches. Now, from the nose of the UP, it saw its fair share as Ironwood reached 254 inches compared to the tail end, where Sault Ste. Marie had a decent 162. We recorded a solid 118 here in the city of Marquette, but the smaller season totals were, unsurprisingly, in the southern region. We saw 60 inches in Menominee and 54 inches down in Escanaba. We definitely had chilly days, but the overall seasonal temperatures were above normal. December and January had more warm days than cold days. However, the coldest day low for the National Weather Service was -11 on January 31st. Since we had that very late May storm, I'll mention that after February, this trend flipped for March and April. Our warmest March high was 44 degrees on both the 15th and 24th of that month. We then shot up to a sizzling 80 degrees on April 14th. If you'll recall, our yo-yo temps melted and froze and melted again our massive snowpack, leading to multiple spring flood alerts and events. Up next, we're sitting down with the man, the myth, the legend, meteorologist Carl Bonak.
You're watching Winter Ready. We'll return in a moment.
I'm Lily Simmons. Watch my reports from Escanaba and Delta County only on WZMQ 19 News.
It's the picture-perfect season.
Gingerbread house.
I mean, this is Pictionary.
Yeah.
Are you not entertained? For festive family fun.
Ski!
Launch.
Ski launch!
Ski launch, correct. Pictionary, every weekday.
Pictionary, weekdays at 9 on WZMQ CBS.
Welcome to Woodstone B&B.
This place looks haunted. I mean, it is haunted, but you don't want people to think that.
I was a huge deadhead, which is ironic because I wasn't even dead at the time.
The only thing that hurts more than being a ghost is knowing that I died before I could crush it on these apps.
The Irish are people too, apparently.
She says it, but I don't think she believes it.
There's nothing worse than a low-down rat.
Last time you sing song got stuck in Dolphin's head for many moons.
I missed you guys.
Ghosts returns, part of CBS Premiere Week after Super Bowl 58 on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Okay.
Getting ready, we all have our routine. Finding an outfit. Fixing your hair. And all the other little touches. Gum, check. Keys, check. Phone, check. But of all the things you remember to bring with you, naloxone could be the most important. It can reverse an opioid overdose. You can get it without a prescription in most states, and it's really easy to use. If you or someone you know is at risk for opioid overdose, naloxone could save their life. Keep it on you and at home. For more information about naloxone, visit cdc.gov/stop-overdose.
Welcome back to Winter Ready.
Well, it wouldn't be a winter weather special without hearing from the UP's meteorologist, Carl Bonak, who knows an awful lot about UP winters.
Thanks, Ariane. Our winters vary from year to year, but we can always count on it being cold and snowy.
Winter is just around the corner. Whether it's mild or severe, we will be bundling up and moving snow around before too long. Meteorological winter is defined as the months of December, January, and February. The long-term mean temperature for all 3 months at the National Weather Service office near Negaunee is 15.6 degrees. Records go back to 1961. The warmest winter was the El Nino winter of 1997-98, 8 degrees above average. The coldest winter occurred in 2013-14, 8.2 degrees below average. That freezing winter a decade ago had 69 days with a low temperature at 0 or below. The long-term average is 33. The least zero lows was a mere 10 in 2011-12. Last year's mild winter only yielded 12 days with lows of 0 or below. The coldest month at the National Weather Service was 2.4 degrees in February 2015. Ironically, the coldest month in the city of Marquette, where it should be somewhat warmer close to Lake Superior, was over a degree colder during the bitter month of January 1912. Going way back, the undisputed warmest winter, much warmer than 1997-98, is 1877-78. It was the year landlooker and eventual land baron John M. Longyear called the snowless winter. He commented that there was just a sprinkle of snow on the ground between the Paint and Michigamme rivers during that winter. In Marquette, each winter month was well above average, with February 1878 nearly 4 degrees warmer than the current average March temperature. Snow usually arrives in late November or early December and stays on the ground into spring. The heaviest accumulations occur in northern sections due to a generous contribution from Lake Superior. Houghton Hancock receives over 200 inches in an average winter, with the Weather Service just under 200. There's much less away from the snow belts, with Iron Mountain collecting just over 60 inches in an average winter, while Escanaba gets even less than that. This winter is an El Nino winter. El Nino is a warming of the Pacific Ocean off of South America. This is a compilation of winter temperature departures in the United States for El Ninos since 1975. Note that we here in Upper Michigan came out warmer than average. So, if history is any indication, a relatively mild winter may be in the offing.
Well, this year, 2023, is another El Nino year. So what sort of weather do we typically see in an El Nino winter?
As we mentioned, usually it's warmer than average. One glaring exception, it was the winter of 76-77, where it was just bitter cold throughout. But for the most part, it's warm. In fact, we can expect, I would think, at least a warm start. There are different flavors of El Nino, though, so sometimes they do tend to turn colder later in the winter, but I would imagine that we'd be kind of mild, at least for the first portion.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of hearing and thinking. So
that's the way it looks.
We have gotten a little bit of snow already this year, but when is the latest that we've gotten measurable snow in Marquette?
Well, as we showed you, it was back in the winter of 97, 98. It was a super El Nino, and the first snow didn't occur until later. But the latest was in 1994, 95. It was November, I should say, the 19th in 1994 when we had our first measurable snow. So we almost got through the month of November without snow. And then there wasn't a consistent snow cover that winter until the 18th of January.
That's really late.
Then it melted like the second week of March. So there was only about 5-6 weeks of winter weather in that 94-95 winter.
Terrible sledding. I should remember that.
It was terrible sledding.
But I don't remember that. All right, so the southern part of the UP usually gets less snow,
right.
But what is the most snow that has been recorded in that region?
Well, in Iron Mountain, the average, as you saw, is 61 inches. But in the winter of 38-39, there was 128.5 inches of snow in Iron Mountain. And then 95-96 was over 100 inches too. So it happens occasionally down there, but obviously up to the north, our average snowfall, as you saw, was well over that, in the 200-inch range.
Right, jumping off of ladders.
Right, to get out your second-story window in some of the worst winters.
Right. All right, do you have any predictions for snowfall this year? Average, below?
It looks like, again, with El Nino, they tend to be somewhat less snow than average. And we're also getting into a pattern now, which we'll see if it holds for the winter, but we have a northwesterly flow aloft, and that doesn't bode well for system snow. So the southern UP, the only way, they don't get lake effect, they only get it when there's storms like coming up from the southwest or the west. If there's a northwest flow, there's not even many of those, just some clippers with light snow, and then the lake effect in the northern UP. So this could end up being quite a snowless winter. We'll see.
We will definitely see. Stick around. We have more on the way. Thank you very much, Carl. We'll be right back after this break.
You're watching Winter Ready. We'll return in a moment.
I've never really been offered a beauty campaign when I was in my 20s or my 30s or my 40s. It wasn't until I was 48 years old when I thought that was way behind me. Here you come along and ask me to join you on this journey with Meaningful Beauty.
No matter what your age, now is the perfect time for beautiful, younger-looking skin with Meaningful Beauty. Join Ellen Pompeo and millions of women who use the age-defying super treatments that have kept supermodel Cindy Crawford looking so youthful for over 20 years. Look at Cindy's skin at age 31 and at age 52. There's hardly any difference, and it's doing the same for Ellen.
My skin looks better today than it did 5 years ago. That's a great feeling.
We can be such an inspiration to women to embrace aging and to celebrate it, to show other women this isn't necessarily a bad thing.
I am so passionate about Meaningful Beauty because I'm able to share with women everywhere.
So make the call or go online now and put yourself on the path to the most beautiful skin of your life. Trust me, it's worth it.
Meaningful Beauty is normally $139. You'll pay only $49.95 for all 5 concentrated super treatments. Plus, we'll include free shipping and a 60-day money-back guarantee.
And now for 2023 and beyond. Be among the first 500 orders now, and we'll add Cindy's new Radiance Recovery Duo, a $110 value, free.
You'll get 60 of Cindy's favorite Revive and Brighten eye masks, the celebrity secret that visibly smooths, awakens, and restores. And our legendary dark spot treatment. You'll be amazed as you watch the appearance of sunspots, brown spots, and dark patches diminish. This is a limited time only special offer. Only $49.95 for everything you see here. Call the number below or go to meaningfulbeauty.com right now.
Welcome back to Winter Ready. Here's Ariane Stasic.
Weathering the UP, sometimes harsh winters, makes us true Upers. We mostly deal with lake effect snow and wind chills, but can also experience snow squalls. So let's dig into each of these elements. First up, a fan favorite, lake effect snow. Now, lake effect snow, or LES, normally shows up in late fall and all winter. You've got air, water temperature, wind direction, plus physical geography, which are part of these distinct narrow snow bands. Basically, cold air, typically from Canada, crosses over the warm waters of the Great Lakes. Now, Lake Superior's heat and moisture rises to the lowest part of the atmosphere. The originally cold air becomes warmer and denser to create clouds. Do you remember learning about the water cycle? Well, here we are with evaporation. The vapor forms clouds and snow. Now, the most challenging part of forecasting for LES is where the heaviest snowfall will be. The instability makes it dangerous for travel here in the UP. Wind direction impacts the variations of these totals as well. So we also deal with wind chill. Now, what exactly is that? It's not a true temperature. Wind chill is the combo of the actual air temperature plus wind speed and how it feels on the human skin. The colder the temp, the higher the wind speeds, the colder it feels to us. If the temp stays the same, but the winds get faster, it feels even colder. This is because as we are always emitting body heat, that blowing wind takes the heat right on with it. Our skin and internal body temps drop. Now think about when you blow on hot soup to cool it down. Faster wind speeds mean we, the soup, lose heat quickly and it feels colder than it actually is. Finally, let's breeze back to the topic of snow, specifically snow squalls. These are like lake effect snow bands, but with a few small differences. Snow squalls are fast and very intense. These are quick changes in visibility and rapid accumulations. The National Weather Service doesn't focus on issuing snow squall warnings up here because we have less out-of-area traffic, with local motorists used to driving in these conditions. With all the snow we see in the winter, traveling, whether by car or snowmobile, can be a dangerous task. WZMQ's Scott Minshall shows us how we need to make sure to get around safely this winter.
We all know the feeling. Waking up on a Monday morning with a foot of fresh snow covering the roads, mountains, and just about everything in sight. Driving in these conditions can be hazardous, but law enforcement officers have tips to make it safer.
If we're anticipating some kind of weather, depending on what kind of weather we're getting, it might be a good idea to plan to maybe leave 10-15 minutes early.
If you can't delay travel, law enforcement stresses the importance of taking your time and staying aware of your surroundings when on the road.
Give yourself some extra distance to stop and give yourself extra distance for the vehicle that's in front of you too.
According to officers, some of the most dangerous winter driving conditions can occur after a warm-up. When snow begins to melt, then refreezes, slippery conditions and black ice can take over.
So we know that that's going to be a possibility as we're going into the winter season and things like that. So just keep that in mind.
When going anywhere during the winter, it's vital to make sure you are prepared to face the weather if something happens to your car. The National Weather Service recommends keeping the following items in your car throughout the winter: a first aid kit, water and food, a flashlight, hats and gloves, a blanket, a shovel, ice scraper, or snow brush, a bag of sand or cat litter, and jumper cables. 19 News put together our winter preparedness kits for less than $40 from a local retail store. Other actions, such as keeping others informed of where you're traveling to, when you're supposed to arrive, and the route you are taking, will help you stay safe this winter.
Again, if you can delay your trip or avoid certain roads that you're anticipating might not be plowed as quickly as the main thoroughfares, it's probably a good idea to avoid those.
While winter conditions can make traveling hazardous, if you plan correctly and follow safety guidelines, it can be done safely. Scott Minshall, WZMQ 19 News, Marquette.
You're watching Winter Ready. We'll return in a moment.
I thought it was just a rash, but it had a bullseye ring around it. My doctor said it was a tick bite. Luckily, we caught it early.
Ticks found in tall grass around your home can spread Lyme disease and other illnesses, which can lead to chronic health issues. The CDC estimates nearly 500,000 people across the country are diagnosed with Lyme disease each year.
I didn't understand why my brother was having so many asthma flare-ups. Sometimes he couldn't breathe. Turns out a roach problem at home was triggering it.
Allergens left behind by dust mites, roaches, and rodents are a major driver of asthma attacks, especially in children.
When I had a fever, body aches, and fatigue, I never thought it would have been West Nile virus. All it took was a mosquito bite while gardening.
Mosquitoes spread West Nile virus and many other diseases, and they can breed in standing water around your home. Protect your family from pests. Get the facts at pestworld.org.
Yes. Oh, hi. I suppose you're wondering what an A-list celebrity like me is doing in a place like this. You must know, I'm saving the world. Oh, hi, Beth. Yep, saving the world again. Did you know that 40% of all the food produced in the United States is thrown away? That means everything that went into that food, the pesticides, the water, the land, was all for nothing. Just look at this perfectly good food thrown in the trash. The pizza with extra Cheerios, these goldfish and Band-Aid tacos. And just look at this perfect trash burger. This pasta dog looks delicious.
You don't have to dumpster dive like Ed Begley Jr. to save the planet. Fight food waste by shopping smart and using what you buy before it gets trashed.
That's way better. Ooh, arugula.
Do your part and find out other world-saving tips at betterthaned.org.
Welcome back to Winter Ready.
Hi, I'm Ariane Stasek, and we are here with meteorologist Joe Phillips at the National Weather Service station just outside of Marquette. So, Joe, we are talking about winter readiness and winter ready. So, I've got some questions for you. Are you ready to get into it?
I'm ready to dive in.
To shovel into it? All right. So, what are some of the trends of an El Nino winter?
So, El Nino winters can go either way with temperatures and precip up here in the UP. But with a strong El Nino, there's a clear scientific correlation between those conditions in the eastern Pacific Ocean translating to a more mild winter across our area. So below normal snowfall is pretty typical for those sorts of El Ninos, and warmer than normal winters on average. It doesn't mean we can't get a cold spell. It doesn't mean we're not going to get snow. It doesn't mean we're going to see warm days every day. But when you average all those out over the duration of a winter, there tends to be less snowfall and there tend to be warmer than normal conditions across the Upper Peninsula.
How will an El Nino winter affect different parts of the UP?
Yeah, so much like weather changes day to day in the UP, a lot of it is going to be the same sorts of changes during an El Nino winter. We're still going to be dependent on where low tracks or where the wind direction off the lake is going to be and where the ice on Lake Superior ends up being. So that'll dictate where lake effect snow showers develop or where a synoptic low moves through the upper Great Lakes, or if it doesn't. Overall, I would recommend folks to just continue monitoring the weather forecast. It's always changing. Mm-hmm. I work every day almost, and I can tell you from one day to the next, the forecast changes based off of what we see.
So what are the models that you use forecasting for this upcoming winter?
So our office forecasts on a 7-day time scale. So we're doing the day-to-day, every day, 7 days out. And there's different types of computer models that we're using to help guide our decision making and forecast processes. There's high resolution models that are available in the near term. So the next day or two, there's more high res guidance available for us to look at. Those are great when it comes to thunderstorms or wind speeds, especially in areas like downsloping winds. But beyond that, we have medium range guidance, which is a little coarser, but it goes out a little further, and it's really great for identifying the overall pattern. Mm-hmm. And we use those heavily when we're thinking beyond that 1 or 2 day window, so next week, that sort of stuff. And then beyond that, there's also something that we call ensemble systems, which are a lot like our medium range models, but they tweak the variables just a little bit. So when we do that, we're looking at more of a statistical analysis of what could happen over an area for temperatures, snowfall, tracks of systems, that sort of everything that goes into weather, into sensible weather for anybody who's interested in weather. We connect the dots using all three of those, plus any observations that are ongoing right now. So we're using satellites, radar, and surface observations, as well as ship and airplane observations to connect the dots across the United States to see what might be happening upstream that might be moving into our area.
Should we expect more, less, or about the same snowfall for this winter?
So it's a strong El Nino winter. That's what's expected from the Climate Prediction Center, another group in the National Weather Service. They're saying high confidence in a strong El Nino. So what that typically translates to in the Upper Peninsula is less snowfall than what we would usually have in a winter. And again, that doesn't mean there's not going to be any snow, but on average, we tend to see less snow during those sorts of stronger El Nino winters.
Okay. Where in the UP do you think is going to have the easiest or harshest winter?
So a lot of the harshness of winter is usually defined by how cold it gets or how snowy and windy it is. We have some traditional cold spots in the UP, like the interior west. It tends to get really cold there overnight. And then our snowy and windy spots are usually near Lake Superior. So those are going to be the best bet places for where those harsher conditions might exist in the UP, regardless of El Nino or La Nina winters.
Right, like the northwest snow belts or wind belts.
Yep. So the northwest wind snow belts, the northerly ones, we have snow belts from any wind direction in the UP, which makes forecasting challenging up here.
How will this winter impact the next season?
So a lot of the snowpack that develops during the winter, it translates into what we think of as our fire season in spring. So when all the snow melts and the trees are not budding green, so it's pre-green up, that's a period where the risk of wildfires is one of the greatest up here. And so if we don't get a lot of snowfall, or if we don't have a lot of liquid in the snowpack that develops during the winter, that might translate to a longer fire season. It might translate to a drier period during that time frame as well. And then that also trickles down into drought conditions for any of the agricultural interests across the UP or in northern Wisconsin. Yeah. So it's all connected.
Yeah.
And up here, winter is the primary means of getting precip, that and fall storms. So every little bit counts.
Right, and I was thinking about last spring and summer. I don't remember seeing that many flood advisories, warnings, watches, but maybe that's just because I've recently moved back, but maybe your recollection of that is a little bit different.
Yeah, having worked the events, we had two big melt periods, one in April and then after the May blizzard as well. And they impacted different parts of the UP. And it was a handful juggling all of it to make sure that we were communicating the conditions as we saw them developing. Especially as we're going into winter, it's important to remind people to make sure you're keeping tabs on the forecast and what that might mean for you, and any sorts of travel conditions you might be thinking about putting yourself into.
Thank you, Joe, for all of your insight and information about El Nino and what we can expect for this winter, and everyone here at the National Weather Service station. Thank you for joining us for our very first Winter Ready special. From all of us here at WZMQ 19 News, have a safe, snowy season.
Thanks for watching Winter Ready. This has been a WZMQ 19 News special presentation.
Spend New Year's Eve with CBS at Nashville's biggest bash.
Let's get to sing, go.
King and Rachel Smith host America's newest countdown. New Year's Eve Live, Nashville's Big Bash, Sunday on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Hey, what have you been doing up there?
Honey, only ask questions that you really want the answers to. Okay. Gonna get a reward for being such a nice guy?
As long as nice guys don't finish first.
A good guy, but he's got a big dilemma. 3 girls, a wife, are hanging up on his hands.
Oh my God, are we poor?
You are. We're doing very well.
The family's growing and it's only
I know this might be too late to say, but I'm not sure we should have children.
the last man standing.
Oh, what are you dressed as?
Oh, farm girl.
E-I-E, I know.
He's the last man standing.
I wasn't always this good at this.
That's Jackson. That's Mike. We went to the mall.
Haters, gonna hate. Peace out.
On Last Man Standing.
Merry Christmas from everyone at 19 News.
Tonight, Israel